Thank you, Integral. I'm Fuchao from China Mobile, and also I'm the TSC member for OPNFV and the PDL for the Edge Cloud project. So today I would like to bring more of the information of this Edge Cloud project, and hope you will be interested. So there has been lots of introduction and discussion about the multiple services actually happens in Edge. With the emergence of 5G, we expected that there will be lots of services with the requirement of low latency and high bandwidth, leading to huge demand for this Edge Cloud. And for OPNFV, the initial goal of this open source community is to focusing on the reference platform design and architecture design for the NFV cloud. So we kind of look into whether Edge is also a scenario for OPNFV. So we see that where is the Edge cloud? We see that we try to give a network structure for the telco cloud, and we see that from the customer premises, the UE probably for mobile network, and all the way out onto like access central office, county level central office, and city level central office. All of these probably should be in the scope of Edge Cloud. These Edge Cloud, we already have lots of central office for the telco operators already located there, and we could have parts of them these central office to be redesigned easily to fit into the Edge Cloud facilities. And we also did some statistic surveys on the latency and bandwidth to see if these central office could meet the requirement actually for Edge services, and we got this results. The result is like we probably will have around 2 milliseconds of latency at the access point, but it will be around 4 milliseconds of latency at the city level. So you can see that almost at whatever level it is, it almost could meet most of the requirements of the services staying at the edge. And also we did some survey on the bandwidth. When we see that for 5G, most of the operators will improve their bandwidth to 50 gigabits at the access till 200 gigabits at the city level. So that will meet the high bandwidth requirement for most of the Edge services. So based on all these kind of analysis, we see that Edge should be quite important scenarios in the future for telco cloud. So we also see lots of things happening in the community. I think that lots of you will be aware of the things happening in all these open source communities. We see the EC working group in OpenStack. We see the newly announced project for KEYNOTE. We also see a lot of Edge-related automation projects in ONAP. We see that also in the standardization organizations like in SCMAC, they have their technical reports, a lot of ongoing work about the Edge, and lots of things going on in OPNFV as well. There are lots of existing projects in OPNFV. They are not fully focused on the Edge scenarios, but they already have some use cases related with Edge, and already have some thoughts about the requirements of Edge. Taking Auto as an example, this is a project in OPNFV actually focusing on the integration of ONAP with multiple VMs. And they actually have a typical Edge use cases. They use virtual CPE as their applications for Edge, and they try to build the integration of ONAP with OpenStack and Kubernetes to provide the Edge infrastructure for the virtual CPE applications. And also we have our new CRM project, which is set up last year. And this is a kind of a typical application stay in the Edge that will provide lots of requirements for the Edge stacks. And there are two projects actually focusing on containers, which is Container for NFV and Clover. And the Clover projects kind of focusing on the applications that are containerized and they also have lots of requirements for the edge stack that should provide with these applications. And also the Container for NFV project, they are focusing on the integration of Kubernetes with OpenStack. We also have our Ferris lab, which is building the whole infra of the testings and CI/CD system of OPNFV. And these projects, they also have some considerations for edge. But we kind of realize that there's a new project that is needed to be focused on edge that could make the connection with all these different projects to work out the requirement for edge and build out the reference platform for edge specifically. So that's why we will begin the discussion of this project and set up this whole new project. The purpose of this project is to focus on the NFV platform integrated for telco edge cloud. It should be a platform edge, which is, we hope it to be homogeneous with the core and orchestration point of view, but so that we could have a unified orchestration and operating mechanism used from core to edge. But this edge platform should be better trimmed to meet the specific needs for edge services. So what do we plan to do? We kind of want to trigger this work into 4 aspects. First, about the requirement analysis. Like what I said, we have lots of use cases, we have a lot of work ongoing, but actually we have to put it somehow into a requirement analysis and architecture design. We would like to analyze and conclude the requirements for multiple services we see, not only telco, but also IoT business, or even in the factories and a lot of vertical industry. And also we would like to try to translate these requirements of edge into the actual deployment requirements of this platform, like NFV SDN components, OpenStack, Kubernetes, hypervisors, virtual switch, hardware, and etc. And then the initial goal actually for this project eventually is to provide a reference platform design. We would like to design and release a limited number of OPNFV scenarios for edge cloud, which will take in consideration of the requirement analysis above. And then also about upstream collaboration, OPNFV is also always good at doing the upstream collaborations, because we are integration project collaborating with lots of upstreams. So we also like to collaborate with other related communities for requirements and also the scenarios that we are working on. And hopefully we could output the detailed requirements for components to each relevant projects. So for example, if we through the kind of analysis of all those edge services, probably we would work out some specific requirements for OpenStack, and hopefully we could, through the collaboration with the OpenStack EC working groups and other projects, we could kind of output these requirements to the OpenStack community, and hope we could eventually integrate them back into OPNFV. And the last is the testing. OPNFV has done a lot of work on the testing. We have a bunch of testing tools and testing frameworks which we could reuse for the testing in edge. So these are actually the 4 features we think that in general we should define for edge cloud. The first is lightweight control, which I guess it has been talked a lot in this morning. We're thinking that taking consideration of the limited space and powers that we have actually in the edge central office, probably we will see that it will be unnecessary probably not to deploy orchestrator and VNFM, and also the VM and SDN should be lightweight as well. And the second is about the remote provisioning, which is also talked a lot this morning. Because edge cloud, they are rather distributed, and we could hardly expect to have a cloud experts there try to maintain the remote edge cloud, especially at the county level and the access level. So probably the remote provisioning is important, so that we could have some cloud maintainers sitting in the city level and could maintain all the clouds at the county's access and even at the customer premises. And the third is about the resource heterogeneity. I guess there's not that much talking about this morning, but we see that taking consideration of the multiple types of services that will sit in the edge, telco services, IoT services, MEC, a lot of different resources will be appear at the edge, like VMs, containers in bare metals. They will be all coexisted in edge. Well, this seems like this is not a huge problem, but it will mean that the edge stack should have the capability to managing all those heterogeneous resources, and the whole manual workflow should also be worked out. And the last thing is about hardware and software acceleration. I noticed that there's not much addressed this morning, but I guess if you bring lots of user plane services onto edge, they have a huge demand actually for the packet forwarding, which will require hardware and software acceleration. Also, if we open this infrastructure to a lot of third-party MEC applications, there will be AI applications here, lots of applications that will require compute acceleration as well. So it is expected that there will be lots of acceleration resources located at edge, FPGA, GPU, lots of them. But I guess there will be two aspects of problem here when we're talking about acceleration at the edge. The first thing is about how actually we should expose these resources to the upper level, so that when the orchestrator trying to deploy some services at the edge, they should actually know what kind of resources it can use and which node they should actually use for specific acceleration resources. And another thing is about unified API, which we begin the discussion in OPNFV, is that so that we could fully decouple the VNF services, the applications with the acceleration resources. So these are actually the four aspects. We're seeing that edge is different from core, and we think that the edge project will focus on in future when we are doing the architecture design and the scenario releases. We'll try to work out the edge cloud architecture, but it seems that this is a quite complicated architecture, and taking consideration of so many heterogeneous resources here. We see that there will be commandery servers and customized servers, and there also will be physical network functions exist at this level. And also there will be VMs, containers, bare metals, all coexisted at this level. So it could be complicated. And also we have lots of discussions on the edge cloud resource management architecture. I won't give too much details here, but we're kind of thinking that the multi-region for OpenStack and also the lightweight OpenStack should be quite important for this whole solution of network management here. Talking about upstream collaborations, we have lots of communities that are working on edge, and we hope that we could put these requirements go to the upstreams through close collaborations with upstreams, and also we will continuously integrate of the upstreams to the so as to deliver the typical scenarios for edge. And for OPNFV projects, like I just talking about, we also built a lot of close connection with them, hoping we could cooperate within OPNFV to help build the whole reference platform into it. And there's also something I should mention that previously in the Ferrous lab, we actually have no specific edge hardware, and this is something that we are ongoing work with the Ferrous projects. And progress for this project. This project actually will have a lot of discussion in the OPNFV community, but it was first discussed in the 2018 ONS OPNFV Developer Forum, and then the project was officially on board on April. We have our G release happen probably in this September, I guess, and we will have our first release scenario, which is the ONAP orchestrating with Kubernetes OpenStack. And I also give the wiki page here and meeting minutes here, so that probably you will be get more information for the progress of this project. And that's all, and you are very welcome to join us. Thank you.